We interrupt your regularly scheduled program to bring you another episode of We Can Help with Dave and Woody, already in progress.
Well, we could call it 7:05. Let's just call it 7:05.
You could do that.
Yeah,
So
we
that
can go
means
back in time.
that means it's 7:50.
Yes, we have to go to 7:50 tonight. All right,
Okay.
very good. That's the math out of the way, and we're good to go.
And none of us got hurt either. That's the best part. Last week it was kind of like, I can't do this.
You're listening back to that. I'm like, really? I had that hard a time putting that
Well,
together.
no, I know what the problem is. You get to 12 and you have to start all over again. It's like, wait a
You're
minute.
right. It's not
There's
right.
a system we should, remember when we were kids, they were trying to get everyone to go to metrics.
Well, I'm pro metric.
Well, maybe 24.
I am so tired of the imperial system.
Wait a minute. You're for metrics?
Oh God, yes. Are you kidding me?
Okay,
It's
with
so
tools.
much easier.
Tools, but what about measuring?
Yes, that's easier too. I'm measuring something that gets 7 5/8. I'm like, I need to add a 16th to that. Okay, that's 10 16ths. So that'll be 7 11 16ths. It's like, what is this world we're living in that we have to, everything has to be a different. Did you see that bit Nate Bergese did on, he was George Washington and he was trying to talk his troop. Oh, yeah, I guess, was it Washington?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because they wanted to get rid of
The football,
colonialism in the United States. And we'll develop our own measurement system. Oh, yeah, what's that? There'll be, a foot. 1 foot will be 12 inches. And they're like, so 12 feet is a yard? No, 3. 3 is a yard. He just contradicts what you would think would follow suit on each
that
one.
makes sense.
So, but
that's funny. You know that guy's name.
How you doing this week? You surviving school?
Yeah. We had a field trip today.
Did you?
Does Chris listen to our show anymore?
I'm sure he does. Yeah.
Well,
of course he does. Everybody who starts listening to the show listens. By the way, if you're new, go ahead and click down in the bottom left there, the bottom right,
whatever,
or the subscribe if you're listening to YouTube.
We did pick up a new subscriber, by the way.
I saw that. Not just one, Dave.
Oh yeah, nudge.
Handfuls. We get handfuls a week.
Yeah, practically handfuls.
Yeah, if you had a shop accident with a table saw, handful.
No, so Chris, we had our FBLA rally today, where we District 27, Northeast Florida, and yeah, it was pretty good. I got 6th graders now, so it's
Now, I would presume most of the kids who join an organization like FBLA are maybe more of your well-behaved kids, do-gooders.
Yeah, we've got. So the 6th grade part of it was a challenge because you can't read the tea leaves there, but it turns out I've been very.
I'm sorry,
blessed.
Is this the first year they're eligible for FBLA?
Yeah, well, in my group, yeah.
Okay.
I think they're accepted throughout the nation, but I do a pretty cool vetting. So when they come to the meeting, I've told this before, I think. I let them know that, well, here's what I'm looking for. I don't want to hold your hand. If you want to join a club where you need to have someone tell you what to do and how to do it, and you're going to sit on your seat and wait for someone to tell you what to do, get out. And I need self-starters. Yeah, I'd say it that way.
And then you randomly pick one kid in the crowd to show you mean business.
Him out. Toss him out like
you with the glasses and the red hair. Get out.
That's not a bad idea, by the way. But I tell them I need self-starters and critical thinkers, and I lose about, let's say we start off with 20 kids, I'll lose 5 of them doing that. And that's kind of what we did this time around, but I ended up with 18 kids. So we had 6 of them return. We picked up 12 kids. So
return.
Yeah, so I had 7th and 8th graders last year. So I had last year's 7th graders come back as 8th graders this year.
Oh! I didn't realize. I thought it was just 6th graders in this.
Well, that's the only grade I'm teaching, but the FBLA covers the junior high.
But FBLA covers 6th through, well, in your school, 6th through 8th.
8, yeah.
Okay.
So the good news is the rally wasn't too far away. And the lady that's my coordinator, CTE curriculum specialist, she's a sweetheart, and we love working together. And we just make a good team. So it was good. We all took them over to Chick-fil-A for lunch. Of course, they ate, no pun intended, they ate that up. And then I told my principal I'll be back at 1:30. I rolled up at 1:31 to the front door. She goes, Mr. Theus, wow. I said, well, this
So
ain't
where
my
was
first
the
time.
rally at? At Chick-fil-A?
No, no, no. So we typically would go to a community college, they still call them that, called FSCJ, Florida State Community College in
Right.
Jacksonville. And that's in Jacksonville, so it's about 30 miles away. But their auditorium is being remodeled. So
Oh,
this year we were kind of on the lam looking for a place, and there's a church, we'll give them a prop, called Elevate Life over in Fleming Island, which is just the other side of the railroad tracks from us, kind of around the corner. But they're real community minded. They were one of these churches that started their congregation at a high school, Fleming Island High
yeah.
School.
Most of those types do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's non-denominational,
Yeah.
but they were very community minded. In fact, they have a very strong PA, technology group, and they gifted the high school like $100,000 worth of, which may not be a lot of stuff, but some really high tech stuff because they needed to increase the auditorium sound wise, and they just
Right.
left it, for the school. So they moved not too far from the high school into a commercial, those push up concrete walled commercial
Yeah.
parks.
Uh-huh.
So they're in one of those, and they've got a cool, really cool facility. So we reached out to them and they said, "Yeah, we'd love to do it for free. Come
Good.
on over."
Very good.
So,
Yeah, for those watching on YouTube, you saw me kind of laughing. It's that's a recipe right out of a regime cookbook, right? You come into a community and you start giving them money and you prop up the schools, and all of a sudden everybody loves you, and then you turn on them, right? You get them
well,
in your bag. But I know this is not the case for this.
it is pretty smart. I don't know if it's a model that's been out there for a while because I never really knew. The church model is find a building and get a congregation to pay for it, but you
Right.
think outside the box, and that's what they did. And it was
Yeah, but
twofold because they got a free space and they got the people that were parents that knew, it gives them instant visibility because everyone knows where the school is, and then on Sunday morning they're out there with their placards saying come to church. I
yeah,
don't know, it's a
no,
it's a neat way.
I wish more people would go to church, Dave. You know,
I do too. That would be
I always tell people, the belief part can be difficult, but the bottom line is the majority of the church is trying to establish some guidelines and teach some guidelines in society, right? If you take out the God and Jesus and all the disciples, whatever religion, I'm trying to think of the other gods, Buddha and all that. The underlying message of most churches is do good and do good to others. So I don't know. I think it's a good positive message, and I you know I heard something about Gen Z men are starting to attend church again. Not women, but men.
well, that's yeah.
I don't
You
know
know
how
the
accurate that was, but
well the not to get into this totally, but the fellow that we lost recently, Mr. Kirk, talked a lot about how part of the stuff that he was doing was finding that young people were going back to church and men specifically.
mhm.
And I think, to your point, whatever faith you claim to cling to, um, men are supposed to be spiritual leaders and leaders. I think it's important. I don't know. The whole family can go to church. That's not a
Yeah,
bad
that's
idea.
why stop at men,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
No, I agree with you. It's good. It's good community, if for lack
it's a
of
good
anything else.
reminder of how you should act and behave, and
Well, we
hey,
do get our common law from scripture, I
right.
mean, it does come from there. All
So
right.
anyhow, let's not go down the religious route.
Yeah,
That's not
that's
what
not
people are on here.
not that we're afraid to talk about that. It's just not really the purpose of the show, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, drop a question in. You want to ask about Dave's religious beliefs. They're kind of crazy, but want to know them.
well,
Ask.
you live in Florida, you get used to snakes, and they're not that bad. I mean,
Start dancing with them before you know it. You're talking tongues to them.
I don't like the part where you have to reach into a bucket and you don't know what's in there, but
Have you
anyway,
ever watched that
yeah, those guys are
church?
crazy.
That is crazy stuff, man. Just the way the men are
So
acting.
just
And
for the record, you're not advocating that, right?
well, I mean, hey, if it makes you a better person in society, go for it.
Have plenty
I'm
of
not gonna, I'm
anti-venom
not
on
gonna,
board.
I'm not gonna join you and kissing
Well, our
snake.
church only deals with garter snakes.
So that's a smart move.
We have a strict rule: no venomous snakes, just garter snakes. Keeps people
That's
in the
good.
back of
That's
the
a
room
good
like, I
move.
can't believe he's holding that thing. Yeah, well, it's safety. Nothing
It's
wrong
a
with it.
little green snake about this big.
I used to trap those when I was a kid and take them in the house. My mom would go, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "That's a
Hey,
garter."
I got a I don't know if I discussed this last week or not, but I may have forgot. Did I talk about the break time at my meeting in Dallas? The
You said you sit at strangers' tables.
well, no. My ethical dilemma though I had. So I went. So they had a break at 3 in the afternoon, and it's a weekday and everything else. I went off, made a phone call, and as I'm coming back down the hall, they had put out pretzels, the big kind,
Yeah,
fluffy, big
the
kind
bready
pretzels.
ones. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, I'll have a pretzel. Why not? It's here. And I get to the end, you do your mustard and everything at the end. I look up and there's coolers of beer
Lone
sitting at
Star.
the end. And I'm like, huh. It
3
just
o'clock.
didn't feel right. I was like, I
Were you looking
hesitated and
around?
yeah,
Were you
I
like,
looked around. There was no way I was being the first guy to get a beer out of the cooler and go back in the meeting. So I looked around. I'm like, all right, at least 5 other people have a beer. I'm good. I'm good. But I mean, isn't that weird that it really throws you for a loop?
well, I
You
don't
know.
know. In the furniture business, we drank all the time. I mean, we would probably be like, well, where's the booze?
But was it after it was after your meetings and stuff, right? We were still in meetings.
No, some factories, depends on if we were like at a factory meeting, we were trying to get like, on the shop floor where there's like sharp objects and stuff. We couldn't do that. But,
If you plied to foreman with a couple beers, he might have let you on the floor. I don't know.
yeah, no, but there was a lot of drinking back in those days. But I'm remembering back to I lived in London and worked for 6 months, and we'd go for beer lunches. Now,
That's yeah,
sometimes we overdid it because we were
yeah.
21, and we'd go
Someone
back.
else is paying for the beer, right?
Well,
So you're
no,
like,
we
yeah.
I mean, we were paying for our own beers, but it was
Oh, okay.
customary for to go to the pub to go to the pub during the workday and have a pint. You didn't get soused, but a pint of beer is significant.
Well, especially
Um,
when you're younger, and.
but there were a couple work days where we had more than a pint and we made it back to work, and it was
Unproductive afternoons,
yeah, but
but
no one ever came in and said stop doing it. The
yeah,
bosses never
right.
came in and said that's
Well,
frowned
I always
upon.
say, I remember growing up watching the Mary Tyler Moore show, and Lou Grant would always keep a bottle of whiskey in his desk,
Dude,
and
yeah, yeah.
a
Uh,
lot of that was not that wasn't just for comic effect in the show.
no,
That was a real thing.
I've told you the story. I had a dealership here in Jacksonville, was the Herman Miller dealer in Jacksonville. The fellow is deceased now, but he had meetings on Tuesday mornings after his meeting, and he would want to see the market manager. I was the market manager for Herman Miller, and if we were working on a good big project with him, I had to give him updates. Well,
Right.
he'd always have his meeting on Tuesday, which meant you're going to his office at 11:30 and you're drinking.
Good Lord.
And I'd be like, Charlie, we can't do this. And he goes, we can do whatever we want. I
But
own the
can you
place.
give me a little extra? You can't do this, but put a little extra on top this week. This week,
But that was the deal.
and that was the '90s, right? Where it was.
Yeah. And then the sales manager for him had a little office out in the warehouse, and he kept a handle on his desk. And when things got a little rough in the afternoon, he was putting one away.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
I don't.
Moderation. I'm okay. I don't. We all stopped because somebody got sued, right? You didn't stop them from drinking at work. They drove home and they got in a DUI and they sued the company for letting them drink.
Oh, I'm sure that had something to do with it. Yeah. Well, I
It's
can
just
remember. I can remember at Christmas time, Woody.
good Lord.
The
Yeah.
week before Christmas, I spent
Oh,
no hand. So I would go around all my clients, and if you're good, you get to know your
Yeah.
clients, and you somewhere along the way throughout the course of the year, either you notice what they drink or you ask them, hey,
Yeah.
what do you like? Well, I'd have $10,000 worth of booze in my car, delivering booze at Christmas time.
Crossing state lines.
Oh no.
You and the bandit.
Had
Were you on the
numbers on the
radio
had
too?
numbers on the side of the car. I was running NASCAR.
What was the truck driver's name in the band?
I don't
Smokey and the Bandit. What was the truck driver?
I don't
The
I don't
Bear
know.
or something like that. Rufus, whatever.
But no, we would give booze out, and it was just custom.
There's still a little bit of that going on. I know at some of the white elephant parties and stuff, someone will put a bottle of whiskey or a bottle of wine in there, but you don't drink it at work. You get it as a gift.
Yeah, I got one of those. What's that cinnamon whiskey?
Fireball.
Fireball. Yeah, I've never even
That's
had it.
nasty stuff.
Someone gave me a liter of it, a big bottle of it.
Oh,
I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this?
yeah.
I don't think it's ever been. I think we're trying to get rid of it. I just
And
throw
that's
it
not
away.
even the real when we used to do, I think they were called Fireball at Wally's, right? Weren't they? What were they called?
Dead brains. I remember that.
Well, it was now I'm drawing a total blank.
Mark Patrick, PG Mark Patrick.
Yeah, now I feel bad because I can't remember how they made it. It was Tabasco sauce
Oh yeah.
cinnamon schnapps with Tabasco sauce is
Oh
how
God.
they made it. Now this Fireball stuff is malt, I think. I think it's a malt
No, I
whiskey.
thought it was like a bourbon whiskey.
No, they got in trouble
Hold on.
recently.
Hold on. Let's
Ask
ask her.
ask our research assistant what's in Fireball whiskey.
Alexa, what is Fireball whiskey? I think it's a
You,
liqueur.
you awake?
She's drinking probably.
Yeah.
Alexa, do you know the product called Fireball? What is it?
Fireball Cinnamon Whiskey is a popular liqueur made by the Sazerac Company. It's a blend of Canadian whiskey with cinnamon flavoring and sweeteners, bottled at 33% alcohol by volume.
I'm wrong.
It's whiskey. Yeah.
All right. I heard because they got ask them about the loss if she knows about a lawsuit against them.
Alexa, are you aware of a lawsuit recently against Fireball? She's thinking.
Okay.
Sazerac, that's the big company, right?
It's
Don't
one of
they
the big yeah, bought all like bought a
Beam
bunch
or
of
something?
yeah,
Okay.
I don't know. Beam is owned by an Asian company. I think that's a South American company. But they
Sazerac?
own some of the other brands up there.
I think we've
Yeah.
had that conversation,
So,
but all right.
I
Anyway,
don't buy from them.
I've never. I guess the kids put it in the freezer or something, and they drink shots of it. I don't do
Well,
shots.
Our buddy Sam was a big, whatever it was called, a hot shot or whatever it was called at Wally's. That was his go-to drink. He would
Huh?
buy those all the time.
I don't know. I went to Wally's, but I don't ever remember having mixed drinks there. I don't know what I
They
beer.
didn't have to.
I never went to. I mean,
Well,
I saw the.
could you
ladies
really
well.
call them mixed drinks though?
They were highballs. They were
They were.
basically.
It was
Yeah, it was
all
just
alcohol and like a splash of Coke.
the
If
only
you got a
thing that
rummy.
the only thing they had, what was that little lady's name?
Amy. And there was Amy.
No, Amy
and
was
Margot.
Margot.
Margot was the loud one. Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing they ever mixed that I ever saw was that dead brain drink, which was like
Oh,
cream.
it was vermouth and Garradine, and then they would put some red. Garradine was the red stuff, right? I don't know how to bartender, and it would drip over. It hung in there like a
It was
big
cream too, or
snot
something.
ball.
Yeah,
Yeah, and a big snot ball.
a big loogie.
For those people that know us, Wally's, they know what Wally's is, but maybe someone newer. So Wally's was this package store halfway between the university in downtown Orlando, and in the back, it had a full service bar. And it speaking of old school Lou Grant days, this bar opened at 7 a.m. the package store and the bar opened at 7
Yeah,
a.m. And I
yeah,
think it closed at midnight.
I was going to say this was a place where you had regulars, and they rode up on their bicycles.
Yes.
They had more bicyclist patrons than cars, I think, because of
But it just became this place of lore. I mean, it was incredible how so
it was a dive.
It was a dive bar. And you know what's funny is years later, we had a company meeting in Altamont Springs, and we all went out to dinner in what's that fancy area right near there, just north of it,
Lake Mary,
where Rawlings is?
Winter Park.
Winter Park. And they said, well, let's go out and, should we get another round of drinks? I said, well, there's this dive bar down the street if you guys want to go. So I took about 15 people down there, and that was the best part of the whole meeting, they said, was Wally's.
Well, the thing I remember about it was it seemed like we were, I guess it was football season. That's why you would
Yeah,
go,
because it was halfway on the way to the stadium.
Yeah.
And
so it was always cold, if I remember correctly. But you would stand in that package area, and it was cases of beer and whatever else in the cardboard
and wine.
boxes.
He was a big wine collector, too.
Yeah. And so you literally just hung in that. The bar was kind of a.
Well, if you didn't get a stool at the bar, there was only space to stand sideways behind it. So,
yeah,
and then so you were constantly in the way when you stood there.
And it was the one thing I did like about it. It was one of those bars that was sunk in the ground. So when you stood at the bar, your knees were at the deck of the bar almost. You were really tall because the girls worked down in a hole. And you couldn't see anything except for the wallpaper was
naked people wallpaper. Yes,
it was funny because I remember the first time I ever went in there, I was like, I'm sitting there looking at the wall, and I'm like, I couldn't figure out what it was, and I'm like, what is that? And then it suddenly, you know how your eyes finally lock in, you see everything, and it's like, oh my god, what's going on?
One of those. It's like one of those 3D art things. You look at it forever, and you're like, oh, that's there it is.
So you got to think about the owners. I think this is what I want in this place is this going on the walls.
That place became so infamous that the owner would be in the homecoming parade.
Yeah, the homecoming parade. He was like Santa. He looked like Santa. He was Wally.
Yeah, it was. Well, yeah, and we used to that place until the fire marshal got involved. There'd be a couple hundred people in that place at any time. You could. I love when you came to the side door. The guy would check your ID, and he'd open up the door, and like two people would fall out the door because it was so full. And he's like, "Go ahead, go ahead in." You're like, "All right."
Of course, the bowling alley. You don't forget about.
Yeah, it was like a six ounce glass they served in, and they put ice in it, and they poured whatever you were drinking right up to about a half an inch from the top of the glass, and just hit it with the mixer, and it was $1.25. I always remember that. It was sweet. And so you'd get hammered there, and then you'd buy a fifth in the store and
sneak it in the stadium
and sneak it into the football game.
How many times did you ever wear cowboy boots to the game?
Well, the thought was if you put it in the front of your pants, who's going to check, kind of thing. So, but yes,
that's hilarious.
Many a great time at Wally's, and like I said, that guy from Morgan and Morgan, it closed.
Yeah.
I think
next time
once
down
Wally
there,
passed
I'm
away
go over there.
And then Brad's been there since. Him and his brother, they took pictures, and there's like a 6x6 frame on the wall of the naked lady wallpaper.
There you go.
They saved like a piece of it. I always remember. You remember those like in classrooms and everything else? There's those white like styrofoam ceiling tiles. They drop them in the metal frames.
Yeah.
Well, I always remember when you went into Wally's, it was they had a brown drop ceiling above the bar, and then when the fire marshal caught on to him, they said you need to put an exhaust fan in, because this is back when you could smoke in the place. And they went up there and they found out it was about an inch thick of like nicotine dust on the ceiling. Had been there since like the 30s or something. Who knows?
I had to go up there with a chisel and a hammer to get the stuff off.
And the other key component, at least for the men, was, remember the men's bathroom? in
Yeah,
that
the bowling
place?
alley.
Yeah, the bowling alley. It was about 3 feet wide, and it had a urinal, a sink, and a toilet at the very end, and no doors. So if you had to lose brother,
There was a urinal in there? I thought it was just a toilet.
no, it was right before the sink. Yeah, it was a urinal, sink, a toilet.
And it was just, yeah, you took a hike
And
to get down to
you'd bump the guy at the urinal trying to get to the toilet. It was disgusting. But yet we went weekend after weekend.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it was the friendships, you know.
are we doing too much reminiscing on here now? I think
don't
so.
know. We can
I think
stop.
people can appreciate that.
So Sheila and I went to dinner the other night to our local seafood place, Corky Bells. It's weird. They have two restaurants, two of them. One is down on the St. Johns River down in Palatka, and it's beautiful. It's on the river, you know. It's just, and they serve alcohol. But the one up here in Fleming Island is not on the river. It's just like one of those metal buildings, you know. But it's got a lot of fish nets and stuff all over it. But they don't serve. And I'm wondering if it's because they're near a church. They don't serve beer or alcohol. There's a school nearby and a church. I don't know if we have one of those laws in Clay County or not, but whatever. But nobody complains. I mean, the place does bang up business. So we're both starving. The lady brings out the basket of club crackers, right? So I bust open a thing up and I start pouring some tartar sauce on my club crackers. I don't know. I'm just hungry. And I said, tartar sauce, huh? And she goes, yeah. I said, how did it get its name? What is tartar sauce? What's the story?
And she's rolling her eyes like, dude, I got 6 other tables to go to, and you want to quiz me about
No,
tartar sauce?
I'm not asking. I'm asking Sheila. So do you have any idea where it comes from?
I'm thinking of like steak tartare, or no, I don't. I'm just guessing at this point.
Well, you're actually much closer. So we're going to ask Alexa here in a minute. I had to get her to get there, but there's one definition that takes it back to not the Tartans, because those are the Scots, but the Tartars. And they were famous for preparing raw meats.
Sauces.
And that's where we get tartare from. And this was a condiment that they came up with, but then it was made famous by some French guy who came up with the mayonnaise.
Relish, right? Mayonnaise and relish, essentially, right?
Yeah, what do you call those little
peppercorns?
No, hang on a second. But anyway, I thought it was like cream of tartar or something was in it, but no, that has nothing to do with it. Alexa, can you refresh your memory about the discussion of tartar sauce?
I think she's blowing you off tonight, Dave.
That'd be something. That's probably never been done before.
Getting attitude. Remember, if you listen to the last show, we got on our case pretty hard. So,
Alexa, please refresh the discussion we had regarding the origin of tartar sauce.
I'll laugh. She says, refresh this, Dave.
Yeah. Alexa, one more time. Where is the origin of the name for tartar sauce?
She's listening.
I didn't get that. The internet isn't reachable.
Oh, the internet. That's why we're bleeping out.
I've been watching I've been skipping a little bit on the screen. So your internet, car must have run into your internet again out there.
Yeah. Let me try it one more time. Alexa, what do you know about the origin of tartar sauce?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Okay. Well,
the internet isn't reachable.
Well, what do you know about the origins of tartar sauce?
Well, I looked it up and let's try it this way. I don't know, it's not fascinating, but it's something we take for granted, you know. And
we take the origins of tartar sauce for granted.
What bastards. Is the origin of tartar sauce? Okay, here we go. Tartar sauce likely originated in the 19th century French kitchens, where it was created as an accompaniment to the raw beef dish steak tartare. and is thought to be named after the Tartars, a nomadic people from Central Asia. The French refined the sauce using mayonnaise-based mix with ingredients like capers and pickles, similar to a creamy, tangy condiment with similar roots found in Turkish and Levantine cuisine. The sauce's association with the Tartars is possibly linked to the coarse texture of the sauce and the people's reputation for toughness, although sauce itself was likely
That's a
not part of their
reach.
tradition. Yeah,
Yeah.
so French origins, the people with steak tartare needed something to probably push the steak down.
Uncooked
Um,
steak.
and then Hellman's, as the leading mayonnaise producer, was likely the first to offer commercially bottled version of the sauce in 1920s, making it
Oh,
widely available
wow.
to consumers. Yeah, so one of
Around
those
a long
things.
time then.
I don't give thought to that kind of stuff until you're
Till you
spreading it
dig
over
into
a
a
captain's
McDonald's
cracker.
fish. Yeah, until you dip into a McDonald's fish fillet, right?
Yeah, yeah, they're loaded with it.
I still tell your story about the fish fillets.
Filet, what I do?
Yeah.
That's not what do you know about it? Because if that's what I think it is. That's a story from a girl. I'll tell you that in a minute. But go ahead.
No, I thought it is how you always told how everybody pronounced it coming through the drive. Weren't you a drive-through McDonald's guy?
No, so I'm in Germany. I'm traveling through Germany with my buddy that year that we lived abroad, and he has a friend who's in the Air Force and in New Ulm, Germany. So we're staying at their place, and his wife is, God, she's the funniest girl I've ever met. And she spent her whole career as a Delta flight attendant. But
Okay. Is she
she's from
German or American?
she's from Atlanta.
Oh,
And so she's a not a big girl, but she's not petite, let's put it that way.
right.
But she's nice. She's an
Yeah.
attractive woman. Anyway, and she's got this deep, syrupy, rich Atlanta, Georgia accent. Well, she worked at McDonald's when she was in high school. And she said, we can say this. She said it was hilarious on the drive-throughs when the blacks would come through. They would order a fish fillet, and they would say, "Let me get a fish fillet and a french fry and an orange." And that so
I'm
she
not
would do
laughing
it.
at that, people. That's
No, of course you're not.
disgusting.
But
You
she
would tell
would.
that
The
story.
funny thing was not to be racial, but I know it sounds that way. But who cares? Um, it was funny to hear her say it, and
Oh, I see.
I can't do it any justice. But man, it was hilarious.
Oh, I see. I always thought that was from your point of view. I didn't realize it was from
No,
her point of view.
she did the fish fillet and
But I
the
still say
orange.
I still tell that story.
Well,
So
there you go.
I tell that story in my
Corporate outings.
yeah, no, when I teach I'm trying to think of what those HR courses are called.
Yeah. Yeah. How to be more socially justice.
All right, be socially aware of your surroundings.
Yeah, your inclusion classes.
There you go.
And this week we're going to talk about filet, orange, and
Yeah. And how it's not right.
yeah.
So, anyhow,
All right. Anyway, so I had tartar sauce. We covered tartar sauce pretty good. I think we kicked that horse pretty well.
kicked it down the street, Dave.
Yeah. What else did we
Don't
have?
don't you have a question for me?
Oh, yeah, I was just noticing, I'm always talking about my jaundice because of this light I've got, but what's going on with your forehead, man? You look like you
I'm
got some.
glad you asked, Dave. I
Okay.
appreciate that. To all our listeners, that's the level of pre-show we do.
Especially during it when he's like, don't forget to ask about one. I'm like, what's wrong with your head? So what's going
No,
on? Did
I've
you
had
fall?
this. What's that? No, I've had this. Like it started as like a dry scalp, right? I just noticed it was dry, so I started putting moisturizer on it and stuff, and it just wasn't going away, and so I decided that I'd go see a dermatologist,
Yeah.
and people. The biggest gripe people have with socialized medicine is not that it's cheaper or or any in that, everybody gets health care or anything along that. It's always like, oh, you got to wait forever to get an appointment. Have you ever tried to get an appointment with a dermatologist in this country? It's
Pimple poppers?
impossible.
Remember that on
What?
Seinfeld? Remember on Seinfeld? Pimple poppers? You mean pimple poppers?
I don't remember call. It's insane how I'm glad I'm not dying from any skin. Like I had bad case. This wasn't skin cancer or something. So I
Yeah.
call and I'm like, can
Was
I
it
make an appointment? They're like,
rosacea?
sure.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
This started back in June, right? And I'm like, yeah. She goes, we can see you in October. I'm like, October?
I could be dead by then, lady.
Yeah. I I guess that's the only appointment you have. She goes, well, fill out the paperwork ahead of time, and if we have someone drop from the schedule or something, we could, um,
Slide you
reschedule
in.
you or whatever. I'm like, fine, I'll do that. Well, June, July, August go by, and by this point, I'm putting it on twice a day just to keep it from being all red and everything. And so then I didn't realize I had scheduled the appointment for when I was going to Dallas. So I call up. I said, I mistake. She goes, sure, we'll see you in December. I'm like, what?
Next year.
December? And I said, I didn't get it. You didn't even call me for like a dropped appointment or anything. I said, isn't there anybody I can see there? She's like, well, there's just nobody available. The PAs, nobody. I can't. I said, well, what about the homeless guy I see out front every day? She goes, sure, we can get you with him. And I'm like, all right. She goes, yeah, in November. Ah.
So what happened? Have you seen anybody
I,
yet?
no, I finally got an appointment. So
In
the joke was the whole routine was just to get to the homeless guy outside, Dave.
well, I'm sorry.
I got to workshop that a little bit better.
You do that sucks.
I got to come back stronger next time.
But do you have a problem, or is it just dry skin?
I don't know. I've been they gave me some cream and I swear it's not getting any better.
Does it say preparation H?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I was going to do that bit where we were going to do the voiceover.
I'm not totally buying into this yet.
Okay.
But you can do it. Prove me wrong.
No, I don't think it's going to be that funny. So what I'm talking about is I tell my kids, y'all need to read more. Now, first of all, I say, do you read? And they're like, no. And so I tell them a story about when I was a kid, I read the cereal boxes. And I said, do you get cereal in a cereal box? He goes, no, our cereal comes in a bag. They're going to go.
I guess some do.
Yeah.
But it's still got right. It's not like it's a plain paper
But
bag
then
with
the
nothing
mom
written
puts
on
it
it.
mom puts it in a container or something. I don't know. So I'm like, you guys got more excuses for doing nothing. So anyway, I told him I always read the cereal box from cover to cover. And every time I would have cereal in the morning, I read the same thing over and over and over again. But then back in the day, we used to get those 45 records. Remember those things on the back of the Sugar Pops that you get the Partridge
and the needle
Family?
could barely stay on the record. But
yeah, sometimes they were better than others. But anyway, they were always kind of get you things on the boxes. But anyway, so my wife went to Costco and bought a bunch of stuff, and she came home. I'm not going to tell you the product, but she came home with a medical product, shall we say. And
also that I figured you were reading something from your own house when you
yeah, but it was really cool packaging. It had the safety packaging and hard cardboard so you couldn't steal it, put it in your purse.
It says one size fits all.
Anyway, I just thought I would read it like I was auditioning to do voiceover work. And the copy was kind of hilarious. It's a laxative. It's a stimulant laxative. But the language I thought was kind of funny. It's up there with a fart joke, but I don't know where it is. I'd have to get up, and I didn't bring it with me. So
that's something I realized at the NASCAR race. That was a real. You know what? Professional sports can learn a lot from how NASCAR does their events, and I mean this in the truest of senses. For those who haven't been, one of the things is nice. One, you can bring a cooler in with you as long as it fits under you got to keep it under your legs. It can't be hard sided. It has to be a soft sided cooler. You can bring your own food, your own drink,
Beer?
alcohol. What beer? I brought in me and my son brought in 8 beers with us for the race.
Oh,
A couple sandwiches and chips and everything. And they don't there's still long lines at the concessions. It's not like they lost money or
they
anything,
charge you
the
50 bucks
concession
to use
stands.
50 bucks to use the toilet?
No, in fact, I went in the restroom at the end. It's old school where it's just a trough down the whole side of the Speaking of bowling alleys, bathrooms. Did you ever remember as a kid, they used to have the circular ones where you had to sit and see, you were looking right across the way at the other guy? Do you remember that?
What?
Instead of a trough on the wall, it was circular ones in the middle of the bathroom.
That was a sink.
No, these were both. I know what you're talking about, but it was on Saint's
UCF
hand.
had one of those where we used to have our meetings, and I'm like, what is that thing? I'm pissing in the middle. They're like, dude, that's a sink.
Oh, you said, what is this thing as you're going to the bathroom?
Yeah.
That's like, why do they have soap in the urinal? That's so stupid.
I guess you get two things done at once, right? You're here, your hands are dirty.
Right.
I don't remember. You're saying there was a circular urinal, and you like we stand. Hey, Bob, how's it going? You stand
You're like looking right at the other guy.
No, I never liked those big feeding trough things. I had
Why?
shy bladder.
Yeah.
You look, you
So
pull
I
it
guess
out.
I can be in the middle of a interstate highway if I need to. I don't care. When it's time to go, it's time to go.
I'd always look at the guy and go, "How's it going?" And he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I got shy bladder." He's like, "Really?"
So why are you talking to me? Is what his real question.
Well, I can strike up a friendly conversation. I relax. That's what I would tell the guy.
You can't look at the guy next to you in the trough.
So,
Dave.
what's your name? My name's
that's
Dave.
That's an illegal move.
I'd
right
shake
there.
your hand, but I'm a little busy right now.
Bob, how you doing? Put it there.
Just trying to relax. I got shy bladder. No, I don't know. There's a John Wayne joke about that. No, I don't know.
Casey Wayne or Gacy Wayne or whatever.
No, the Duke. He had something to say about people peeing
Shy
on
bladders.
him. No, people peed on him all the time. They'd turn around and go, "Hey, you're the Duke," and they're like, "Hey, cut it out. You're peeing on my leg."
Gotcha.
I don't know. I would butcher that joke. All right. So what was you're saying NASCAR? It's a friendly place. It's a family oriented place. Yeah, I agree with you.
And it was, and like I said, they don't gouge you getting into play. Parking's free.
So there was this guy that I met years ago who worked for an engineering firm that built the rides at Disney, part of the subcontracting they did.
Right.
And this was early on. And his philosophy was, on average, back in the 80s, the average family spends $800 a day once you're inside the park.
Good Lord.
Yeah, on food, trinkets, clothing, whatever.
And so that's back when you had to buy the E-ticket and the A-tickets.
Yeah, and he said, why are we charging people this exorbitant amount to get in the gate? Why don't you just let people in for free,
Yeah.
And they're going to spend the money. But
yep. Yeah, I know. These games, they all profit from it. And it's just every year they got to make more money. We have a losing team here, and the guy keeps jacking the prices up for Panthers tickets. It's crazy.
We know something about that in Jacksonville, too.
Well, you're getting a new stadium you have to pay for.
I'm not, because I don't live in Duval. Duval. I don't live up there. That's why I moved.
It's time to say goodnight.
Yeah, I had something else, too, and I forgot it.
That's why they make pen and paper, Dave. You write these things down.
So what happens is on the fly, I get it, and then I keep waiting for you to finish, and I keep telling myself, okay, don't. This is it, and then I get sidetracked.
That's a bummer, Dave.
All right, subscribe, folks. Come on over here and join us on YouTube. Mash the button. Both of us are nearing retirement. We're going to need some supplemental income.
Yeah, it helps us, not you. So get on it.
Yeah, be friendly. Go to church and push the subscription button, will you?
Good Lord. Just push the button.
And listen to us on Spotify. Oh, I know what it was, real quick. I'm getting ads for the Biltmore on the audio version. And I know the
Biltmore State?
Yeah, the Biltmore spends a lot of money in Florida because they know that we like it. So I'm getting Biltmore wines real cute ad. The husband and wife, I assume they are, and they're talking about red wine for a certain occasion. And I don't know, but it's a cute wine from Biltmore Wines. And then they're saying, "Come to Biltmore for Christmas." So they're promoting
They talk about gouging you on prices. Good. Have you looked
yeah.
at
But
those
real quick,
tickets?
how is North Carolina? Are y'all ready to set to Western North Carolina to receive people? Is it a mess still?
Yeah, I don't, hotel wise and stuff, I think it's fine. And I'm thinking the Biltmore Village, which is right outside the
They
Biltmore,
got wiped out.
got wiped out, and I'm not sure where that's at in recovery. I'm sure the streets are cleared, so business can traffic can pass, but I'm not sure about businesses outside the gates. Obviously, the Biltmore estate itself did just fine throughout
And they have
the
a hotel on the property. I'm sure it
They do
survived.
now, yeah, but
Yeah. I
I
think
haven't
and
been since the hotel opened.
you can always
But
go to the place where you and what you have both been to, up on the mountain.
oh
The
yeah.
what's it called?
Mike Grosvenor's Resort.
Grosvenor Inn. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Yep.
right.
Anyhow, let's
That's
say
it.
goodnight.
That's all I had. All right, guys. God bless, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Bye.
All right, later.